Hey, this is SinThya, and you're watching Talk About Krach.
First of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I got a bunch of stuff that I'm working on, and hopefully I'll be able to put out at least 2 albums and maybe a couple projects at the end of the year.
You release a collab with Silence in Machine. Tell us something about this new album.
This new album is basically, I took a bunch of old instrumentals that Wes was throwing away, and I essentially made them as a template to make an entire album. But the original production of it was going to be an EP, and we were basically going to do 4 or 5 songs and do a cover, and that was going to be it. But then Wes had the idea that he wanted to make an entire album, so we decided to do an entire album, and within 7 long months of production, it's finally coming out April 4th, and maybe by the time that this is out, it will be out already. I'd appreciate it if people check it out, see what they think about it. I think it's some of the best work I've made lyrically, some of the best work I've made production-wise or just in general, and I hope it's as successful or even more successful than The Silence, because that did not go as far as I thought it would be. But I hope Error Fiend is even more successful than The Silence was.
What is your favorite SinThya track?
My favorite SinThya track is actually a track that's not out yet in the time of this recording, but I've been working since 2018 on my debut studio record, Figures, which hopefully, if all goes as planned, is going to come out within November. But I've been working on it since 2018. The first track alone took me about 9 months to create. It's been a long, arduous process, but I'm hoping that it comes out as decent as I plan for it to go. I hope it goes a lot smoother. But there's a song on it that I made a couple months ago called Error. And it's a very lo-fi sounding track, but I think it turned out to be really good. It's not going to be a single. You're going to have to wait for the album to come out to hear it. Another one of my favorite tracks that I made that is going to be a single is actually a song that I'm working on called Unnatural. I feel like it has a little more of like a Deftones-y feel to it, but it's definitely going to have more of a club sounding vibe. But yeah, I'm hoping that comes out smoothly, and that should be, if I play my cards right, that's going to be the next single to come out this year, shortly after Error Fiend comes out. I'm hoping to put it out within the month, and yeah, there should be about 4 more singles coming out for Figures within the year before the album comes out, so I'm hoping that works out, but you never know.
Answer with yes or no. Spotify.
Yes, definitely Spotify. I'm constantly trying to get people to stream me on Spotify a lot more than any other platform, because I get a lot of my revenue through Spotify. And I'm also trying to, boost up that streaming for all my music. Plus, I can put more things on Spotify than I can put on more other streaming services, because there was an issue with putting out Error Fiend on Apple Music. So if I really wanted to do it, I would have to pull a bunch of strings and do this weird shit, and hopefully I can actually get it on Spotify within the year. I know, not Spotify, I mean Apple Music. Hopefully I can get it on Apple Music within the year, and then we won't have to be like, oh, it's not on iTunes. But it's not like it really matters, because I don't get a lot of streaming on iTunes anyway, which I'm okay with. Yeah, I'm definitely always trying to get people to release, to listen to my shit on Spotify. And, you know, if it starts picking up, I might add some things that are on my Bandcamp exclusively and put them on Spotify too. We'll just have to see.
Ministry.
Yes, definitely Ministry. I'm actually planning on seeing them in October, because their upcoming tour is to celebrate 30 years of The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste. And that is one of the albums that has inspired me to make the music that I make to this day. And you know, it's going to be very awesome seeing that live. Unfortunately, KMFDM was going to be playing with them and they had to cancel, but that's okay, because Helmet's going to be playing with them. And if you give me just a second, I actually want to bring up the fact that I actually am a hardcore collector of cassettes. I really like collecting cassettes, and I have these that I'm planning on bringing with me. So I'm hoping to at least see DString again. I met him when I saw Lords of Acid back in 2019, and he signed my copy of Voodoo U on vinyl. But I'm hoping he's on the tour again, because, you know, he's been a long time member and a long time guitarist of Ministry. I really enjoyed talking to him and hanging out with him the first time. But I'm hoping that I can meet at least some people from Ministry so I can get this tape signed. That's going to be pretty awesome. Plus, it's the album that they're doing a live show for. And it's okay that KMFDM's not playing. I do have Angst on cassette, which I was going to bring, but since they're not, it's kind of ironic that Helmet replaced them, because I do have Meantime. So I'm looking to get that signed too if I can meet anybody from the band. Because when I go to live shows, I really love staying after the show, just so I can talk to the artists and just hang out with them and learn from them, because I've actually learned a lot of my musical prowess and my confidence from other people in live shows. And that Lords of Acid show that I brought up before is actually one of the shows that helped me more than anything when it came to figuring out what I want to do on stage, how I want to approach people, you know, stuff like that. Because I met so many people at that show, and it's definitely something that I would love to do again.
Cybergoth.
Yes, Cybergoth. When I started out SinThya back in 2017, my entire approach is to have more of a Cybergoth feel to it, because I've been a long-time fan of the Cybergoth scene, and my music is very experimental. It's very experimental, industrial. I think if I were to be put in a spectrum of industrial, I think I would be less on the tune of Cyclone 9 and more like Cabaret Voltaire. But I want to have more of a club sound later on in my career. I'm really banking on Figures having more club sounding shit than all my other stuff. Everfiend kind of has a clubby sound to it too, because I'm trying to get it more into that vibe, because I want to reach out and approach the rave scene, because I'm a big fan of the rave scene, and I actually have a lot of my roots and a lot of my interests in industrial itself came from the rave scene, and, you know, the cybernetic masks, the dancing. When I first watched the music video for Punk by Eisenfunk, it kind of like opened my mind to that class of people, and I've just been obsessed ever since.
Metal music.
I'm not a huge metal fan, but I have grown up on it, and I do love a lot of metal bands. I'm not gonna say like I'm hardcore, hey, I listen to fucking, I don't know, Municipal Waste or, Mortification. I don't really listen to a lot of that, but I am a big fan of, I love I Hate God. I'm a huge I Hate God fan. I'm obsessed with Voivod. Shout out to them, because they're not very big either. They haven't been very big for a long time. I'm absolutely just ungodly obsessed with Sepultura. I'm such a huge Sepultura fan. If you count it, I really love Typo Negative because, everybody in my situation is always going to be a big Typo fan. I listen to a lot of metal, but I like to keep it within a gothic route because I'm very hardcore into my gothic interests more than anything else. Like, I'm a very big fan of like the death rock scene and the industrial scene more than anything else. I've been a heavy supporter of the noise community as well, which is why if you listen to my earlier work off SinThya, it's basically split in half because you have my regular stuff, which sounds like, what I'm putting out right now. But then on the side, I like to put out a noise record here and there or like a collection just to, fuck around and see what all I can do with new equipment that I'm utilizing. So I've been just doing that for forever.
Hardware synthesizers.
I'm a big fan of hardware synthesizers. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of them right now. The silence was completely made off Audacity with a Casio WK200, but I mastered it all through hardware. But I do have a couple things that are of interest. If I can figure out how to actually plug it in properly with my MIDI setup. I did just get this Vulcan new bass, so I'm trying to utilize it as a looping mechanic. But I'm not a big MIDI fan. I'm very heavily into that analog sound because I just love how it grasps. And for long-time fans of me, you'll know that one of my biggest song on Spotify right now is a song called Analog, which I didn't necessarily make for my love of analog music, but I did make it for the sense of I'm very obsessed with that sound, and I would like later down in my career to learn a lot more about the analog setup and a lot more about sound design because, my stuff may sound professional, but honestly, I'm just learning along the way. I've been doing that for, a long time. I've been learning along the way, trying to see what all I can do with what I have at my disposal. And I have a lot more hardware than I do software. I don't really care to have like waveform or any of that crap. I like to like for instance, I got like old rhythm trackers and DJ shit from the 90s. I'm very into that. I have a lot of cassette recording equipment because I have a lot of blank tapes and I'm like obsessively a cassette collector mainly. So, a lot of my roots do go in from hardware synthesizing, and I'm actually saving my money on the side to get more synthesizing work because I love it. I love it.
What's your typical songwriting process?
So, when it comes to something like Error Fiend, when I'm working with somebody else, I like to listen to the instrumental over and over and over and over and over again. And then I like to just cut myself off from reality and just think about what would work with it. And then I'll add on to it, and then I'll add some like poetic shit with it because, you can't have a proper sounding thing unless you have the proper poeticism along with it, because a lot of musicians have like a thing. They have a theme that they do with their music, and I think it's very important to utilize it to the best of your abilities here and there, just trying to see what all you can make with it, because if you listen to the silence a lot of my stuff is based on like suicide and mental illness and feeling like you're alone in this existential this crisis, and feeling as though that deep anxiety that you have from years and years and years of abuse and self-hatred and putting yourself down, it puts you in a place where you feel silent. You can't really say what you want to say, and I have been someone who suffered from that for a very long time, and I decided to make an album out of it, which it wasn't very well received, but you know, what are you gonna do? The best thing you can do is write about stuff that you know. And I like to I have this interest in writing about slitting throats. It just happens to be something that I gravitate towards a lot, so I try to keep it within that kind of topic. However, I think Error Fiend kind of like makes me break out of the shell and do a lot more things that I wouldn't usually talk about. Like, I talk about social matters, I talk about, you know, the state of the country, but I don't make it necessarily political. I just basically put it in a sense of a lot of people are shitty, no matter what. You know, you could stand for whatever the fuck you want, but at the end of the day, you're a selfish person because you're a human being. And humans, no matter how selfless they are, they always have their selfish moments. And I utilize that in actually a couple songs. A lot of the theme of Error Fiend is actually more based around how the human race will end up destroying itself within like some sort of apocalyptic situation, whether it be nuclear war or just neglect, you know. And I'm not necessarily a nature activist, but I do believe that if people do not take care of what they have now, they're gonna lose all this shit that they've achieved for hundreds of years. But my songwriting process on my own, however, is that I'll just be, you know, working at my shitty job or just, you know, hanging around doing something, and then I'll have a tune that goes in my head. And I'll take that tune and I'll let it ride for days and days and days, because if it's a tune that's catchy and it's not catchy enough to stay in your brain, what's the point in recording it? But if you can manage to let it ride for days and days and days, and then you want to start thinking about the notes by ear, that's when you want to start using it. And so I like to put a template of like I want this kind of synthesizer here, I want this kind of sound here, I want to edit this, I want to glitch this out, I want to, you know, do a bunch of crazy shit. And so then you have that template for one instrument, and then I like to add on to it and make it have like this ambience and this bass. And I like to, you know, add different drum lines and make it sound very progressive with just that one tune, and just add on to it, because I really love bands like Solar Fake, because what they like to do is they like to take a tune and then they like to you know, have like this in their verse, and it works with it really well, and then, you know, they stop it and it comes back in that chorus, and I just I love it. I think it's a really awesome thing, and I think more people should do it, because I only see it in like the German scene more than anything, because, you know, you got And One, you got Covenant, you know, you got all that shit, and they do that all the fucking time. It's great. And I wish more people outside the synth pop and German communities would do it a lot more, so I'm trying to utilize that a lot. So when I have that template down, I start to, you know, like I said, I listen to it for a long time, and I go, okay, well, I want this lyric here and this lyric here, and stuff like that. Sometimes, when I'm just doing something else, I will like a tune so much that I'll try to record it with my own voice through a sound recorder, and it always sounds like trash. It always sounds like trash. But when I do that, I try to, I go home and I try to work on it. I try to record it, utilize it, And then if I can get that done, I actually start writing lyrics along with it in my head, and I start writing them down in a document. And so if I can keep that tune going and I can keep that chorus going, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to use, you know?
What was your first contact with industrial music?
You know, that's a hard question because, you know, growing up when I was in like elementary school, I was more of a radio kid. Not because I wanted to be, but just because, you know, I was in that environment. And, you know, I used to live in apartments that would always be flooded in and stuff like that. And, you know, it wasn't amazing. And I didn't have a lot of, like, stuff I could really keep and call my own for a very long time when I was a kid. But, when I would see my dad, because my mom and dad had been divorced since I was a few months old, unfortunately. But when I would see my dad, he would be like, "Oh, well, what you're listening to is shit. Here's a bunch of this," and he would just burn me a bunch of CDs, and that started gravitating me more towards like metal and like the rock and punk scenes, which I didn't really get hardcore into the punk scene until like a couple years ago, where, you know, I'm now just like obsessed with it here and there. But one day when I was in middle school, I was hanging out with my dad, and because we were visiting him for the weekend, and he was playing something in his car, and it had like this and I'm like, this sounds fucking awesome. And it has like that old, like, there's something about the sound of old industrial that just brings you right back, you know. And the song that he was playing was Butterfly Wings by Machines of Loving Grace, and I had just gotten obsessed with them, and I was like, what the fuck is this, and where have you been hiding it? And then I thought that was over, and then in that same car ride, he played A Drug Against War by KMFDM, which got me super into KMFDM, and he played A Daisy Chain for Satan by My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult. And the second I heard that song, the second I heard A Daisy Chain for Satan, that's when I knew that I was going to be obsessed with industrial for the rest of my life. And, you know, it's been about, I want to say 9 years, 10 years. Let's see, I'm 20 now. Yeah, it's been about a decade, and I've still been obsessed with the industrial scene more than anything else. And, you know, a lot of that has to do with, you know, just riding in the car with my dad and listening to stuff that he listened to back when he used to do clubbing in the 90s and booking and all that stuff. And, you know, without my dad, I probably wouldn't have learned about it. Well, I definitely would have learned about it, because that's just, I've always been into synthesizers anyway. But, you know, I wouldn't have been into it as hardcore for years and years and years if it weren't for, you know, that about 10 years ago. And, you know, ever since, I've just been obsessed with that sound. I've been obsessed with making it. I've been obsessed with putting out an album that I want people to listen to, and then, you know, whether it's well received or not, I want to just add on to it, make it better, because I don't want to sound like all these other industrial bands. I want to kind of bring it back to like the old Ministry and Machines and KMFDM and Sister Machine Gun, and like that old, like almost Skinny Puppy sound, because it has more of an ambience and it has more of like an amplification to it, and it's just like, just gets you going. It just blows your mind, you know.
Choose one of the two options, major or minor.
Minor, because minor is a more somber and let alone gothic chord. And I actually do have plans to make an entire album in the key of D minor one day. Not right now, of course, but definitely at one point I would like to do that, just because it's just such a depressing note, and, you know, I feel like some people just need a kind of album that just really makes you hate life, you know? Sometimes you just gotta hate life and hate fucking everybody, and you gotta use that, you know?
God or devil?
Well, I would say devil, but I'm not like a Satan worshiper or anything. I actually have the devil in my name as like a stage name thing, but I use it as an ironic term because I don't believe in religion. You know, I don't believe in organized religion. I believe it's just a government ploy of basically just saying it's a legal cult, because when you look at religion, religion's a lot like politics, and it's a lot like war, and it's a lot like all this tragedy, and I don't believe in any of it because I believe it separates people a lot more than it brings them together. And I think Christianity is a very big issue because, you know, you got all these people that go to a church on Sunday and they kneel on an altar and, you know, they eat crackers and drink wine or whatever, and they pray and put all their beliefs in a fucking book that was written by people. And, you know, it's just a storybook. That's all it is. It's just a book of stories. It's not a bad book. Of course not. It's a fantastic book. You know, it's a very well written book. But when you take into consideration that a lot of people talk about loving the Bible, but they don't follow the Bible like they claim they do. Because you got all these people that act like, oh yeah, well, I'm a perfect Christian, blah blah blah. And it's like, you're not a perfect Christian if you read the actual Bible, because first of all, it says that you need to do good deeds. And, you know, I've had so many times, like one time in 2019 in October, I was riding in the car with my girlfriend and a couple of our friends, and the car crashes. Well, the car doesn't crash, but it gets a flat tire right by a Chick-fil-A. And this is like in October, and it's like some like 22 degrees outside. And so my friend and I are sitting there, you know, all gothed up like usual. He's more of a metalhead, but, you know, I'm more of a goth. And, you know, I'm wearing makeup, and we're wearing like denim and leather and all that shit, and cool boots and all that. And we are changing this flat tire. And as you know, Chick-fil-A is a more Christian place than anything. And the girls go in to the Chick-fil-A to stay warm. And, you know, you got all these Christians in their car fucking, you know, being all gross and just being like, oh, these people are fucking disgusting. I don't want to deal with them. They look like fucking shit. They spit on us. They scoured. They just... Christians fucking suck, man. They suck. Because, you know, they always act like they're just this pure angel. And in reality, the hard, cold truth about it is that it doesn't matter what religion you are. If you base yourself around something and then you just don't do it, you're a piece of shit. You're a piece of fucking shit. And another thing about the hard, cold, dead truth is that the reason why religion, especially Christianity, is so big is merchandising. Because there are more people in this world that buy, you know, Jesus on the crucifix and buy Bibles and, you know, buy all this shit. And there are more people that spend hundreds of dollars on a religion than they do follow it. And it's gross, you know, it's gross. It's all for it's all a marketing scheme. And, you know, it sucks, but that's true. It's just a marketing scheme, you know? But, like, God himself is supposed to be this divine creator. But the way that he's written in the Bible is extremely flawed. Because a lot of people don't really think about it, but all these sins, you know, all the sins in the world, and the commandments, you know, the commandments are just basic laws. So you're not going to break a commandment unless you break the fucking law, essentially. Unless it's like adultery. And, you know, people are going to fuck. You know, people are going to fuck. It doesn't matter who the fuck it is. They're just going to fuck, you know, whatever. But like, thou shalt not kill and all that, that's basic fucking law. You know, it's basic law. But, another thing is that, like, sinning, I don't see it as a non-divine thing. I see it as the most simplified means of basic human nature. Because sins, the 7 sins, are just 7 human flaws that happen every day, you know? And a lot of people act like, oh, I don't sin, I don't sin. My entire music project, SinThya, the reason why it's spelled the way it is, the reason why it's capitalized the way it is because you got sin and you got Thea. And sin is, you know, as in the basic human flaws of human nature, the 7 sins. And Thea is a Greek root term for mammal. So basically, I'm just calling myself a sinful organism. That's the shortened term for sinful organism is what SinThya is. So I mean, I base it a lot on that. Now, do I think that there's a higher power in the world? I believe that there could be something out there, but I don't let it get to me because the biggest fear in the world is the unknown. And you know, you could spend your entire life believing in a God just so you can, you know, get that closure, get that feeling. And I like that. You know, I think that's a very comforting thing for a lot of people. I don't necessarily believe in it, but, you know, if that's something that can help somebody go through life without fearing everything, power to them, man. Religion is all about bravery, you know. It's about getting your confidence through believing in something else. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. I just wish people would utilize that religion's principles in a better way. Because if you actually were a true Christian, there wouldn't be as much, you know, hatred and death in the world as there is. And you know, that's just what sucks about it. Religion divides people, but when it comes to devil, it's just you know, it's just a stage name. You know, it's just a stage name. God and the devil are one and the same. And you know, because the devil is just, you know, he in the Bible he was claimed as God's right-hand man, and then he was sent down to hell. But in reality, I believe the devil are humans themselves, because the devil is the pure embodiment of evil and sin and hatred and all that. And when you really think about it, that is all humans are. Because especially nowadays, everybody's just full of hatred. They're full of hatred and they're full of, you know, fight. And they always want to fight for something, but it never happens. And, you know, I think that that's what God or devil would be, you know. But I guess if I would choose, it would be devil, just because, you know, let's be real, the devil's more entertaining and more interesting, and you know, you get a lot of cooler stuff by people who are leaning more towards the devil, because without the devil, you wouldn't have fucking Coven, you wouldn't have Black Sabbath, Type of Negative, Arthur Brown, black metal, you know, you wouldn't have all this cool shit. What do you get with God? A bunch of fucking televangelists that, you know, want to tell you that if you have cancer, just pray and give them $400 and you're cured? Get the fuck out of here, you know?
Suicide Commando or Hasako?
Suicide Commando. Yeah, before I start this, I do love Hochiko. I think they're amazing. I think they're one of, if not the best, industrial band to come out of Mexico in general. But Suicide Commando, I mean, come on, man. That's just not fair. That's not fair, okay? I mean, Suicide Commando, that dude's just fucking awesome. You know, he put out, you know, Bind, Torture, and Kill. He put out fucking Die Motherfucker Die, you know. He put out all this amazing shit. Oh my god, and every album he does is just, it's fucking awesome. Like, that's not fair, man.
Club show or festival?
I would say club show, because you have a lot more energy. You have a lot more fun in a club show, and, you know, it actually ends. Whereas a festival could happen every, like, it could happen for like 3 days straight. And I've been to a festival. I went to the last Warped Tour just for shits and giggles, and I was, you know, I got there at 9 in the morning, and by the time it was 6 p.m., I was already just fucking out of there, you know. because it gets tiring. But like, it's cool that you have all these bands that, you know, get together and play. But I mean, no matter who you're looking for or not, it's just you're just gonna be having fun, and then, you know, next thing you know, you're like 12 shows in, and you're like, fuck, dude, I haven't drank anything. You know, festivals, you know, you really lose track of time. You know, but you know, with a club show, you know, you get to be connected with people, and you get to rave together, and you know, it's awesome. It's fucking awesome. You know.
Mechanic or organic?
I see what you're getting at here. I would say organic. Actually, no. You know what? I would say mechanic, because mechanic lasts longer. Because, you know, look at yourself. You're a human being. You know, and one of these days you're gonna die, and you're gonna be cut open, and you know, people are gonna do an autopsy on you, and then you're either gonna be cremated or you're gonna be in the ground. Whereas if you're a mechanic, you can live thousands and thousands of years, and what do you need? Like a rust? You know, you might rust over and get an oil change. That's all, you know. So I think mechanic is definitely more of the lenient idea, especially for the human race, because, you know, cybernetics are always going to be around, and they're only just going to get more powerful. So, you know, you never know.
What can we expect from your new label?
Well, it's not necessarily a new label. It's been going on since 2017. Like, I started it right when I started SinThya. But you're definitely going to be expecting a lot. I actually have 12 projects on the back burner, and only 4 are out right now. Right now, you can, as of the time of this recording, you can listen to SinThya X Sounds Machine, which is technically not a project, but is a collaboration with Audio Sick Records. You can hear Adelinification, which is a noise group that I did with my little sister as a one-off thing. There's only 3 songs on it, but it's kind of cool. And then you have Ware Bedutong, and that is my dark ambient project, and I might be putting out something else for it in the near future, but I have so many projects on my back burner. I got a noise band that I'm working on with a couple other people called Napalm Love Letter, and so I'm hoping to put that out either this year or next year. We've been working on it since 2020. It's been in the works for a little over a year now, actually. We only got 2 songs done, but it's going to be 8 tracks. Then, you know, I got my punk band I'm doing, because SinThya music isn't just industrial. I actually intend on all my other projects to sound completely different from each other. So I have a hardcore punk band I'm doing called God, Grandeur, and the Freaks of Nature. I got a joke band that I'm doing. So basically, you know, you got all these gore bands like Anal Cunt and Brutal Truth and, you know, Agoraphobic Nosebleed and stuff like that. And they always call themselves, you know, like gore grind, porno grind, grindcore. So I decided to make my own genre called Pussy Grind. So hopefully within the next couple months you'll have a demo called Fuck Sludge. so I'm going to be putting that out, and it's made as an entire joke. I have a duo project on the back burner called Velvet Leather Vamp Toys that I'm hoping to put out within the next couple years. I have my goth rock band SinThya and His Demons, which I'm trying to look for people to work on it with. I have my metal band Prodigore, which actually has been going on since 2015, but never really took off, but I'm hoping to put it out. I got my project Doomsday Prophecy. I got fucking all these other projects that I have on the back burner. I have so many projects I'm putting out for SinThya music, but on the other hand, I'm also working on doing production work, because I got in contact with the band Rabbit Junk, who I've been a big fan of for about 6 years now. And I was on Discogs one day, and I saw that they had a cassette release, and there was no way to buy it. So I contacted JP, and I was like, hey, you know, is there any way that I can get this off you, because there's nowhere where I can buy it. And he was telling me that some Scottish guy offered to do it, and then he, like, fucked them over. And I told him, well, hey, man, you know, if you have enough demand for it, I'll be more than happy to remaster your album and put it on cassette for a decent price. And decent price being is that I'm basically asking for him to pay for the production, and I get like $20 out of it. So it's actually a really great deal, but unfortunately there wasn't enough demand for it, so that's not going to happen. But I am trying to put out more CD and cassette releases in the future. But if there's a band out there who has, $450, $500 on them, they want to, check it out. I'm willing to do production work for around that much and put out a small run of about 50 to 100 cassette tapes, basically free of charge. I basically get like $20 out of it, and I completely remaster your album and I put it out on cassette. Right now I'm just mainly doing cassette releases right now because, it's cheaper and it's better, and, I like the idea of having them. But, the difference is that I'm not going to screw people over, because when I'm done producing it, I send it directly to them. So, there's that. So you'll actually have a whole box of them. It's kind of cool.
Would you sign to a major label, and why?
I actually have been playing around with the idea of signing to a major label, just because, the thing about major labels is that when you're independent, everything comes out of your own pocket. Whether it's promotion, physical media, music in general, putting out different projects. I mean, look at Wes, Silence of the Machine. Look at me, All the stuff that we do is strictly out of our own pocket and whatnot. But when it comes to a major label, I actually have been trying to get in contact with Cleopatra, because my friends here, Lyle and Sin, they are off Cleopatra Records. And Cleopatra, they're really good at promoting. Like, you got bands on there that aren't necessarily, signed, but they'll do something for a movie or whatever that they're putting out, and they'll highly promote it, and then they'll promote a song, and then, next thing you know, they got bigger fan bases. I mean, look at Luda 13, my friends. They did a song called Snitches Get Stitches for Devil's Domain, and then Cleopatra helped produce their music video for Leviathan. And, they're one of my favorite bands out right now, and I'm really good friends with them, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to open for them when they start touring again. So, I'm looking forward to that. But Cleopatra, they work with bands very, very well, and, I'm hoping that eventually I can try to get some better connections out there and advertise myself to Cleopatra and see if I can get on it. But that's not my only hope. I'm also trying to get on Infacted Records, Infacted Recordings, because they have Grendel, and Grendel and I are pretty good friends. We're pretty cool with each other. JD actually came up to me last year and offered himself to do a remix for my CD, which is why I have a Grendel remix on it. And they're really cool guys, and I would love to be on their label with them. I'm also looking at Metropolis, because I'm a big fan of a lot of artists that are on Metropolis, and Metropolis is very good with the way that they promote and the way that they advertise, and I think labels like Metropolis are the reason why industrial isn't completely dead. I mean, Assemblage 23 put out his record, and he's getting great feedback. It's awesome, and I'm hoping Wumpscut officially comes back soon. And then, if Rudy does that, I'm looking forward to it. But, Cleopatra and Metropolis are the two main labels I'm looking for. But the only issue is that they're the biggest industrial labels out right now, because Wax Trax is just kind of like cruising. But, if there's a label out there that, likes my shit and wants to, check me out, I'm around. My friends Nora McKenna, who also did a remix on the CD for The Silence. I was actually really good friends with them for about half a year until they got signed to Cold Transmission, and they're really cool too. I'd like to be, I wouldn't mind being a part of Dark Future. Dark Tunes. Sorry, Dark Tunes is pretty cool. They have Third Realm on them, and they're a cool label. I'm just looking at other labels, because I enjoy doing my independent label. I enjoy doing my radio show and all that, but I don't know if it's something I want to keep doing if there's a market for me. So, if the chance ever comes up, I would love to join another label.
Your favorite artist of all time?
That's easy. My favorite artist of all time is Christian Death. I've been a long time fan of them for like 12 years. I'm just obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with Ross Williams. I'm obsessed with, Valor. I love Rick Agnew. I love Gatain Damone. I love Evo. Christian Death is just, they're some of the finest music I can even think of, and they're one of the godfathers of death rock. And unfortunately, they've never been extremely huge, except for that one time in the 90s when they put out Church of No Return. But they tour here and there. They tour every couple years, and if they come to Atlanta, I'd love to meet Valor. I'd love to hang out, and I would love to be one of the 10 people that are going to show up in Atlanta. Yeah, Christian Death's fucking awesome, dude. I know Jonathan Davis from Korn constantly brings up how their album Only Theater of Pain is one of his biggest inspirations, which is funny because I share a birthday with Jonathan Davis. But I actually don't think Only Theater of Pain is the best. I think their best albums are either Catastrophe Ballad or Pornographic Messiah. So that's saying a lot because that's both that's both eras. But I think Roz has done some awesome shit on the side as well. I think his album Dream Home Heartache with Gatain Damone is some of the finest spoken word I've ever heard. It's emotional, it's great, the poetry and just the sheer power of it's just insane. I think Roz was a great talent. He definitely had issues, but he's in a better place now, and I'm glad Eva O is still slightly successful. She's with Cleopatra right now doing a bunch of cool shit. Gatain and Rick are happily together, and I'm happy for them. And Valor's keeping the band going, and I just really appreciate that. And I'm friends with a couple people, David Roberts and I'm friends with 2 or 3 people who actually used to be in Christian Death, which isn't saying a lot because Christian Death has had 50 different members throughout the years. But if I could play with them or I could see them, I would love it because they're, like I said, they're my favorite band ever, and they've made some of the finest shit I've ever heard. And I'm just hoping that the next thing comes out. As a matter of fact, my friends Kill Shelter just did a remix for their song Spectre, Love is Dead, and it's fantastic, and you should listen to it.
What's your opinion about physical discs in times of streaming?
Well, as you know, like I said, I'm very into physical media. I'm definitely more of a cassette guy than anything, but I think CDs are... They're good for advertising. They're good for promotion because if I'm in a very small amount of people to where I believe if you really like somebody enough to support them, that you should they should definitely have some physical media out. And luckily we do live in an online age where even though a lot of people that I talk to were more around in the 90s, and they always tell me that this generation sucks because less people are checking out new shit and discovering things through record stores. But I believe that's a new era. People are still discovering things. People are still checking out new shit. It's just, it's just a better system, for better or worse, because, you got artists like me who, unless, they spend hundreds of dollars on promoting, they're not going to get anywhere. But, there's still that chance of, you got people that are constantly doing physical shit, and I love that there's a lot of people out there that are keeping it alive, and I love the idea that if a band can have the money and can have the demand for it, and they actually start putting out vinyl records and CDs and cassettes, I think it's awesome. There's plenty of bands out there that I would love to have physical media that I just unfortunately do not have because they just haven't decided to do it, and then there's people that have, and I have it to this day, and I love it. And I honestly think more people should be putting out physical media, because especially since nowadays cassettes are getting higher in value, CDs are going down, but they're going to get higher in value in the next couple of years. And vinyl has been having their comeback forever, for the last like 5 or 6 years, and I think it is as good a time as any to start putting out physical media. I mean, look at me. I have absolutely no fan base, minus like 30-40 people, and I put out a limited run of The Silence on CD, out of my own pocket, and it was actually quite pricey. But I still have about 18 that I need to sell. But on the other hand, I have it's just awesome that there's still people out there that are looking for it, because there are people like me who aren't just musicians but are also hardcore music collectors. And trust me, if you start putting out physical media today and you give it away to a certain amount of people who are hardcore music collectors or article people or anything like that, it's probably going to go up in value. I mean, my friend Bo Everdown, Kimberly, she was on a compilation called Industrial Music to Cure Cancer, Electronic Saviors, and I've been trying to look for it for about a year now, and it's a 4 CD box set compilation, and right now it's pushing $50 to $80 used. So it says a lot. It says a lot, man. I think more people should put out CDs, but I think more people should utilize limited editions. My friend Zombie Shark, he puts out limited stuff all the fucking time. It just sells out over and over and over again, and I think it's awesome. So I mean, there's still a community for it. You just gotta look for it. I'm definitely a hardcore advocate for physical media, because it's cool that the digital age is around, and all you gotta do is buy a couple hard drives and it takes up less space. But there's something special about physical media that you just don't get with anything else, and it's hard to explain unless you actually have a lot of physical media. But a lot of people that have CDs and whatnot are happy that they have them, and I think that that's an awesome feeling, because anybody can go out and get a digital album. You got people all the time that just fucking pirate it. When The Silence came out, there were like 3 or 4 websites immediately that popped up that stole my fucking album just so they could like give people malware, and I think that's disgusting. I think leaking sites are fucking leeches. And a lot of people also get a lot of their money from physical media and merch and whatnot. So I mean, keep it alive, because if you start doing shows and you have like a little merch table that's got a couple CDs on it that are like $20, that are like $8 at the show, fucking do it, because more people are going to get it, and you're actually going to get more of a fan base that way anyway. Because there are people I know who walk the streets of Lil 5 who will play like a couple shows, every couple weeks. And they'll go to Lil 5 and they'll like give away a couple CDs, and people are going to gravitate towards that, because the more shows you do, the more physical media you put out, more of a fan base you're going to get, because there's still that loophole that you just don't get with online shit. So yes, I do believe that physical discs are a lot better than streaming for a lot of good reasons, and streaming is always awesome. You should always put out physical media and streaming every time you get the chance. As a matter of fact, when Error Fiend comes out, I'm putting out a Kickstarter, which I'm actually going to be recording a video of in a little while. I have a Kickstarter going on to be putting out, I'm going to ask about $650 to put out a limited run of CDs and cassettes, and if that works out, I'll put out a $300 Kickstarter shortly afterwards to put out a limited and extremely limited edition deluxe digipack. So I mean, there's also the feeling of when you're a musician and you put out physical media, and when that shipment comes in, man, you get to look at it, you get to see that something that you worked your ass off on is right there. You're just like, it's awesome. It's such an amazing feeling,
Your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is American Psycho. I am a huge fan of American Psycho, and I think a lot of my humor and a lot of my, nihilist idealisms and a lot of my don't give a fuck yet slightly selfish attitude here and there. A lot of it, I think, came from American Psycho because, you know, I have had those feelings for years and years and years. And then when I watched American Psycho and I saw that shit in Patrick Bateman, I was just like, this is just me. This is just me. It's just a movie about me, basically, because, you know, like, the business card scene, when he sees that the guy has a better looking business card, I have felt that before with people putting out, like, CDs. And, like, it's, like, all nice and fancy, and they got, like, the poster, you know, they got, like, the inline CD text, the ISRC, and I'm like, fuck, it's better than mine, and I spent, like, 9 months on mine, you know, just, yeah, American Psycho is just awesome. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it.
In which century would you like to live in?
You know, I don't really believe in the, I was born the wrong generation kind of people, but if I had a choice, I would like to say that I would like to be in the 70s. I would like to be in my prime in the 70s. Because the 70s was such a transformative decade, you know? Because you had all the crappy poppy shit in your Osmonds and whatnot. But, you know, when you think about it, you got fucking, you know, the Beatles had just ended. You got, but then you got George Harrison. You got Paul McCartney. You got John Lennon. All doing amazing solo careers. I like Ringo, but he's a lot more experimental, you know, so I don't really bring that up. But, you know, on the other hand, you got Mungo Jerry, and, you know, the Doobie Brothers, and, you know, you have the Allman Brothers back when they were both still alive. You got Lynyrd Skynyrd, you got Led Zeppelin, you got Pink Floyd, Rolling Stones. You have all these amazing bands that people are just hardcore, you know, inspired by. You know, Charlie Daniels, shit like that. Black Sabbath. You know, you have all these amazing fucking bands that came out of the 70s, but one of my favorites was around the late 70s, because then you started having fucking, like, Gary Newman come out on the scene, you know? And Gary Newman is one of the best artists of all fucking time. Like, he's just an amazing artist. Like, I pre-ordered his album something like 8 fucking times, Intruder. I'm waiting for that shit to come out. I'm gonna have a big old bulk of that shit, because, you know, I got all that stuff on fucking pre-order. It was awesome. But I think it would be cool because, like, if I were in the 70s and I would still have that interest in synthesizers, I feel like I would make some cool music that, you know, I would have a lot of people be inspired by. And, you know, I think my music would probably do a lot better in the scene of the 1970s, where, you know, people have never heard that before, but times 7, you know, because I feel like, to an extent, people haven't heard the sound that I make before, but I also feel like a lot of people like to, you know, just say that it reminds them of stuff, and, you know, I'm all for that, but I hate that there's all this normie shit, and everyone's always like, oh, this reminds me of 9 Inch Nails or Marilyn Manson. It's like, there is Pigface, you know, I'm a big fan of Pigface, and My Life at the Thrill Kill Cult, and Machines of Loving Grace, I'm just obsessed with, you know, and Christian Death, which are bands that I get inspired by. Mainly Glenn Danzig. I'm a huge Glenn Danzig fan. A lot of my music is extremely stemmed off him. But, you know, a lot of people just always say fucking Marilyn Manson. So, you know, it's just, I love Marilyn. I do. I think he's great. But I feel like more people should just open their mind to more artists, you know?
What are your biggest influences for your music and life?
I was waiting for this one to come up. I have 5 major idols in music, and without these idols, I would not be anywhere where I am today. You know, Glenn Danzig, because when I started playing guitar, all I would ever play are like Danzig and typo riffs, and just Danzig in general is just amazing to me. And like, I actually have in this drawer right here, I have every single Danzig album on cassette. I got one, you know. I got Her Black Wings. I got Lucifuge. You know, I got How the Gods Kill. I got Thrall Demon Sweat Live. I got Danzig 4. You know, I got Black Acid Devil. I got Skeletons. Like, I am just in. Yeah, you can see that. I'm just incredibly obsessed with Danzig. I love the man. I would kill. I will kill somebody for him to tour again. You know, I don't think my life would ever be the same if I can finally see him live. Just, he is such an inspiration to me, and, you know, because this man is such a fucking legend. I mean, yeah, man, where do you start, man? You got fucking Misfits, you got Sam Hain, you got Plan 9 Records, you got, you know, Danzig in general, you got Black Aria, which I do own. It's just over there somewhere. I'm not gonna go all over there and grab it. You know, just Danzig's fucking awesome. But there's 4 other people that I'm also extremely obsessed with. Hang on one second. I love Lux Interior. I'm a huge Lux Interior fan. For those of you who don't know, Lux Interior is the frontman of the band The Cramps, and I'm a diehard fan of The Cramps. Some of the best music I've ever heard. Classic psychobilly. A lot of psychobilly bands nowadays would never even be around if it weren't for, you know, The Cramps. And, you know, there's absolute fucking legends. Poison Ivy is still kicking ass to this day. You know, rest in peace, Lux. You're a fucking legend. Another one who I am absolutely idolized is Roz Williams, as I've stated beforehand. I'm a huge Roz Williams fan. Like I said, he is just an amazing poet. He's an amazing artist. He's an amazing, you know, independent person. And a lot of the stuff that I do wouldn't even be an interest of me if it weren't for Roz. Like, you know, I actually plan on pursuing my interest in visual arts and practical effects later on in life. And I plan on putting out short films. You know, I want them to be very fucked up and creepy, because when I put out my Hello, My Name is Crazy video, there were people that were so incredibly shocked by it and thought that they couldn't even watch it all the way. And I thought that was such an awesome feeling, because I had no budget and no, like, experience when I made it. I made it off, like, $3 and 5 months of production on my own for everything. And I thought it was fucking awesome. I thought it came out amazing. You know, a lot of people don't really like the song, which I think kind of sucks, because I like the song, and I've been working with that song for over a year before it even came out on the Silence. But, you know, still, whatever, you win some, you lose some. But I want to do that more. You know, I want to do that a lot more. And, you know, Roz Williams put out his movie Pig, and, you know, 1334 came out later on after he died. And I think the work of Roz Williams and Nico B is a heavy, heavy inspiration for my visual art and my visual work. And, you know, his poeticism is also something that heavily inspires me. Like, if you listen to songs like Flowers, or The Drowning, or, you know, Spiritual Cramp, those songs are so incredibly, you know, inspirational and just amazing. And, you know, I love it. I love it all. Let's see here. Chris Cornell is another huge, huge inspiration of mine. I actually managed to meet him. I happened to meet him in 2017. My first concert ever was in 2017, and it was May 3rd, and I had seen Soundgarden and the Pretty Reckless at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. And I managed to meet Chris, and he was such a sweet guy. He was awesome. You know, it was unbelievable. My acoustic right up here is actually signed by Taylor Momsen, Ben Phillips of the Pretty Reckless, and Chris Cornell. And, you know, Chris is just such an unbelievably talented, amazing artist, and he has just, you know, he has beautiful children, he had a beautiful wife, he had just an amazing fucking career behind him. And it pains me to this day that he did what he did. And, you know, rest in peace, brother. You know, rest in peace. You know, I would not be pursuing my music without him or Danzig over everybody else. And then my fifth idol is Nivek Ogre, because I'm a die-hard Skinny Puppy fan from here to the grave. I've always adored Skinny Puppy. I grabbed Rabies when it got repressed. I have Remission, the original bootleg from 1998. The one that's missing 2 tracks, I have it. Skinny Puppy is just, their sound is just so unbelievable. And, I love Kevin Key as well. But Ogre is a bigger inspiration to me just because of his stage presence and the way that he works his voice. Like, how he does like that in like his albums. Like, I love doing that, and I actually try utilizing it in my own music. Like, if you listen to my song Delicious Vampire, the entire time I do that song, I try to rework the vocal talents of Nivek Ogre in my own way. So, Ogre just fucking kicks ass. It is awesome,
What are your future plans?
My plans in the future, definitely to start doing shows. I'm looking to start getting on the road in this summer. And I'm going to start looking for places to book me. I'm going to start sending my CDs around to record stores to see if they'll, sell them for people. I'm looking to do a lot more physical connections. I'm looking to do a lot more of that. Definitely doing shows. I've been dying to do shows for, 2 years now. And then, the world fucking ended in 2020, and now that it's coming back up, I'm hoping that, I can start doing shows again. And, I have never done an official show for my own music, that is, and I want to do that. I have an experience in acting, and I have an experience in, being on stage with live shows. Lords of Acid, I'm not going to bring that up because that video is extremely fucking, yeah, that video is very embarrassing. But I have it. I managed to find it. Thanks. But, I would love to be on stage. I have all these different outfits and these different like things I want to do. And I just have all these plans, and, I'm definitely going to start working towards doing live shit. Hopefully later on this year or starting next year. Because I was actually wanting to do a whole tour for the Silence, and then, COVID happened, and a whole bunch of other shit in my life happened, but now that's starting to end, and I'm at a new chapter in my life, I'm really looking forward to doing a lot of live shows. I'm looking to put out a couple short films, like I said. I'm looking to put out some short films later on. I'm thinking that at some point next year, I'm going to take a break from music just so I can work on more music videos, because I want to put out more music videos. I just don't have the time for it right now because of all the music I'm doing, and the features, and the remixes, and all that, which I'm open to do all that, no problem. I'm actually looking to do even more remixes, so, if you're out there watching this, I'll remix for you, I'll do a fucking feature for you, I'll do it free for now, but later on I might start charging. Just because, man's gotta eat. But, yeah, I'm looking to do a lot of that. I'm also looking to try and promote myself a lot more. And, I want to take people who can't promote themselves, or just don't know how, or just don't in general, and I want to try and bring them under my wing, like, Silence and Machine. I love his vibe and all that, and, shout out to him. And this album that we did together wasn't just an album that I did to put out. I also did it as a sense of, I wanted to give him something that he can be proud of, that he can look back on and be like, I want more of this. And, I want him to do shows with me and shit, man. Same thing with my friend Rude, shout out to Deep Down. I want him to do shows with me. These people are like either too afraid or just don't feel like they have it in them to do shows anymore. And I'm starting out doing my shows, and I just want to I want to take everybody with me, I want to take everybody with me to do these shows, because, it makes me happy knowing that if I keep this up and I keep going, one day I can start making a living off doing something I love. And I love music, I love making it, but what I love more than anything else is being able to entertain people and make people, forget about all the bullshit in their life for at least a little bit, for at least a couple hours. If a lot of people really love my music, and, I intend on putting more of it out. I intend on doing a lot more, crossing over and features and whatnot, and, I just want to be, I don't care to be huge, I don't care to be big, I just want to be an artist for people to be like, I love this, and I want more of it. And, I want to work with people that I love, so, that's kind of it.
Last words.
My last words to you are, if you like something, go out and do it. You're an independent person. I didn't make it here just off, a wisp and a fart and a fucking shoestring. I work all the time. I work my fucking ass off. And if you want to achieve something in your life, work towards it. Because, where I'm at right now, I'm doing all this music and I'm entertaining and I'm doing all that. But on the other hand, what I'm truly making a living off of, since people aren't buying my merch and music as much as I want them to, as much as I need them to, right now, I fucking scrub toilets at Walmart, I'm a fucking janitor at this point in my life, and I want to get away from it. I want to get away from it all, and I want to do what I love. I want to entertain. I want to make music for the people, and you're an independent person. And, don't let race, war, politics, society, other people, don't let any of that shit get to you, because your entire life you are going to be put down, and you're going to be told that you're a poser, you're going to be told that you can't do shit, you're going to be spit on, you're going to be kicked around, you're going to be treated like crap. But if you got your eyes on the prize, fucking go for it. If you want to be a doctor, go fucking do it, man. The world is your fucking oyster. The world is your fucking oyster. And, I want to say thank you to all the amazing people that have supported me in the past and in the present and in the future. I'd like to thank MissSuicide. I'd like to thank Silence and Machine, Deep Down, Marique Persellers of Lords of Acid. I'd like to thank Viola Sin. I'd like to thank Rabbit Junk, Spank the Nun. They're fucking awesome. Go check them out. I'd like to thank Lauren, my friend Lauren, who on Instagram she is Darkness of Dystrophica. And she's an amazing artist. We actually just put out a merch line together to help try and spread the word and support the rare skin disease she has, EB, epidermis bullosa. And, shout out to all these people. Shout out to my girlfriend, Bree. She's actually on, I hand drew her for the album cover for Error Fiend on, the front and back. And, shout out to everybody who's listening to my music. Please, share it around. Share this interview around. Check it out. And, if you like what you like, I'm always going to be here entertaining. No matter what's going to happen, I'm always going to be here entertaining. Whether a fucking record label takes me and drags me through the mud and lets me die and then, uses my name to put out more shit and I get, even more popular. Fuck it, fuck it, man. If I can put out music that people love, even beyond the grave, that's all I want in life. And, if you want to do something in your life, you gotta be rock bottom before you can go up. You gotta be rock bottom before you can go up. That's how it is. That's how it is, man. There are people in this world that, put out music to this day and have been doing it for 30, 40 years. And, they still do contracting work or they work at a fucking fast food restaurant every time they don't do a show. And, the music industry is hard. But as long as you keep going and you promote the fuck out of yourself and you manage to hit that big gig, and man, if you can keep doing it over and over and over and over again, fucking do it. If you want to be a doctor, a therapist, a fucking, life coach, hipster, whatever the fuck you want to be. Be you. But, you know, at the end of the day, don't be a fucking cunt. And that's it, you know. Fuck you all and thank you all. Like I said, I'm SinThya. You can check me out on Bandcamp and streaming and all that stuff. All that good shit. You know, I still got a couple CDs that are going around. You can buy them on my Bandcamp. It's US shipping only. And, you know, shout out to MissSuicide once again. Thank you so much for putting me on Talk About Krach. And, y'all have a good night.